analysis of it. But just as I've said in that video, I couldn't point out absolutely all the smallest details in one video, as the episode itself was 14 freaking minutes long. So I had to make a second follow-up video. And this time I will show you all the tiniest and well-hidden details and Easter eggs that I didn't have time to mention in my main analysis. Plus, I dug into your comments as well that you guys wrote under my analysis video, and I also found some unique info to talk about as well. And I'll never stop saying that my subscribers are the smartest people on earth for real. And by the way, if you aren't subscribed to my channel yet, then I hope you'll change this situation pretty quickly, and also give this video a like, because I'm making a lot of skibidi toilet analytical content to entertain you guys. So today I'm going to discuss all the smallest secrets of episode 78 that I didn't cover in my previous video. So get your tea and snacks ready and prepare to watch this video to the end, because it's going to be hella informative, and let's go. Okay, and I want to start with the juiciest detail yet, as lots of you guys were writing about it in the comments under my main analysis. So do you remember the moment when Rizsaw Mutant was left all alone as the rest of his crew teleported without him as he was shooting down the Astro Spy? So after that happened, a damaged Astro troop could be seen flying right over him. And initially I thought that it's one of the remained Astro soldiers who went away to set the alarm off about how our POV is still here and has to be eliminated by some Astro reinforcements. And I was not precise enough here, because if you look closely, you'll see that it's not just some random Astro troop, but in fact that exact body that Larry used after decapitating some nasty, Astro who previously tried to attack us from behind. And then Rizsaw put Larry's body without his detached TV head onto the container so that it could be teleported to the base, while Larry's head controlling the Astro's body remained here with Rizsaw after the whole squad got teleported away. So yeah, it was Larry all along, and he was probably flying away ASAP from more Astro reinforcements from the right as they exposed him as the traitor. But on the other hand though, I wonder how is it really possible to teleport just one part of a TV man's body though? And wouldn't the actual mind, which is remaining in the detached TV screen, been affected by the process of this partial teleportation? Honestly, I think that it is not a very safe practice for any TV man at all, especially after we saw what is happening in the strange limbo between the teleportations. That is genuinely some spooky stuff, but on the other hand, it's also obvious enough that Larry is a pretty, troubled individual, to say the least. And if someone would actually attempt a practice of partial teleportation, it would be him. So I'm not even that surprised anymore. And his comrades thought the same either. But I still had to point it out because, man, Larry is just crazy. And I wonder if he'll be actually protected by his luck much longer in the upcoming episodes, or sooner or later he'll actually face some issues due to the way he is and what risky stuff he pulls through all the time. And what do you guys think about this dude? Because personally, I'm not even sure if we should love him or hate him, but it's really entertaining to see him on screen. Okay, and now let's move on to the next detail I didn't point out in my main video. And this time it's connected to our beloved Speakerman's Armada. And speaking of another character reference I missed, damn, this is really Pablo, sitting right there you are. And in case you don't know who Pablo is and how deep is his actual lore, be sure to also check my video where I analyzed the Pablo leak and revealed some crazy stuff to you connected to Boom directly. And it's really cool that he also included this guy in the actual episode, even though he didn't do that much. Just serving his face card was enough, I guess. So after the new generation of Speakermen showed up and literally kicked Astro's metal buttocks like crazy, Mini Titan said an inspiring speech about how Speakerman won't be hiding anymore and all that. And after these words, he put his unique scythe weapon into the finished body of some unfortunate Astro troop, and it produced a wide beam of red light piercing the sky. And well, I didn't really pay much attention to this exact detail, but it turned out that it could have had some pretty interesting interpretations. Firstly, producing this kind of light could have been done in order to claim the Alliance's power back, or to be more specific, the power of the Speakerman's race in particular. Because as you guys know, Speakermen used to be in the background of pretty much all the missions the Alliance put out, and usually it was either cameramen or TV men who shined the most, both in battles or some other types of missions. While Speakermen served more like comedic relief characters or some goofballs, you know, the Dark Speakerman and Speakerwoman aside. And not to mention Titan Speakerman, of course. But now everything changed after their last major upgrade. And it would be the perfect time for Speakermen as a race to show that they are not to be messed with at all anymore. And I think that's why they didn't show the upgraded Titan Speakermen immediately too, because now their power can be well represented without him just on their own. So if Speakermen couldn't even show up safely on the streets without their Titan anymore, which we could see in episode 59 for example, now everything is changed, and they can do basically anything on their own. That is the first interpretation. And the second one is that they are so self-confident right now, so they could create this beam of red light specifically in order to attract even more Astro Toilets to fight. So yeah, this could be used not just like a symbol or power, but also like a bait. And even though it may seem pretty damn erratic thing to do, I actually believe that the new generation of Speakermen could do something like this. God forbid if some guys want to flex some new upgrades and abilities, I guess. And the fact that Mini Titan literally says the phrase "no more hiding" before producing this light beam only ensures this fact. So yeah, I believe that even more crazy buffed Astro troops will arrive in episode 79, and that's when we'll see the upgraded Titan Speakerman 2 eventually. And speaking of Mini Titan in specifics, I also hope to see the similar type of warriors both in Cameraman's and TV men's armies too. And I don't count big type of agents as Mini Titans though, so Polycephaly and Big Cameramen do not count. And if Boom will actually cook up something like this and we will really see Mini Cameraman Titan or Mini TV Man Titan too, then I bet it's going to be insanely epic. But okay, well, that's the topic to discuss for another day. And for now, let's move on to the next detail of episode 78. So after I rewatched the episode a couple of times more after I already uploaded my analysis of it on YouTube, I noticed a couple of small things I didn't mention. So do you guys remember the charismatic human dude at the very beginning of the episode with the skull on his shirt, and who also looked like a seasoned gangster or something like this? Well, I remember that it could be actually a direct reference to the Marvel-produced TV series called The Punisher, as this guy looks extremely similar. And secondly, I didn't exactly mention how Astro Duchess literally uses her own very eyes while creating the energy shield to protect herself from the POV's bullets. And I believe that the same ability can be possessed by a wider range of elite Astro Toilet warriors, and maybe by Astro Duke too, who still wasn't shown to us yet. And by the way, I also noticed that in the scene where Duchess starts laughing like crazy, it is also possible she could have got chalked on a human she's just eaten in a raw state. And if this is true, then I wish she'd actually choked to the end, you know. But unfortunately, she was fine after the accident, and I cannot say the same about the poor human she ate, though. And it's also worth mentioning that most likely there are more than one Astro Hunter existing in this universe, because we could see several images of them on multiple TV men's screens shown later. And given how powerful just one Astro Hunter is, I really wonder what is the perfect way of eliminating them quickly and efficiently, and what kind of weapon would be used the best against their terrible species. We'll see that in the later episodes, I guess. And by the way, let me also point out how similar Astro Duchess's face looked to Boom's YouTube profile picture on one of the left TV men's screens. I bet it was more than intentional. I guess Boom really likes her character, even though this chick has extremely flawed morals, to say the least. And what I also noticed while rewatching the episode is how when Riz saw Mutant showed a thumbs up to the group of cameramen in this scene, they simply shake their heads as if they were saying, "Nah, bro, we're not that close. Leave your friendly gestures for someone else." Which makes me think that it's possible how the Alliance's agents still treat members of G Squad in particular very cautiously and even show a high level of dislike and distrust towards them. And even though the other Skibidi Toilet members could be better accepted as comrades, the members of G Squad were literally the most dangerous and cruel opponents for the Alliance for a really long time. So it makes sense that some agents of the Alliance could strongly dislike some of those guys, especially Rizsaw Mutant. Which also makes me wonder, is it really a coincidence that he wasn't teleported away with the rest of his squad later in the episode? Or maybe he was deliberately left out? It may kind of sound like a conspiracy theory, I know, but just think about it for a second. Okay, and there is also one pretty interesting moment happening later after this scene, but it was actually pointed out by one of my subscribers, who wrote to me, "Did anyone realize how when Large TV teleported to that limbo zone, his voice became normal instead of reversed?" Also, regarding the comments saying he used the device that regulates reverse speech, that wouldn't make sense because before teleporting he spoke reverse. And then after teleportation, he also spoke reverse. And yes, he was absolutely right. and I also think that this is no coincidence. We could already tell that the teleportation limbo, or some kind of abyss, I may say, has lots of weird and unsettling effects. It can provoke certain hallucinations and introspections within a person, and make him remember his past or think about his future. And who knows, maybe it's also possible how this limbo can literally drag all of your secrets within your own soul or mentality. So the fact that all races start speaking in some sort of common language all at once while entering this abyss seems the least weird thing to me. And in general, I think that this limbo deserves a separate video, to be honest, because I have plenty of thoughts about this creepy place. And by the way, as we started speaking about that scene, did you guys notice how poor Jeffrey guy also had purple tentacles type of thing on him too? And it looked really similar to the claws that Skibidi Scientist Puppet used to have. And Astro Duchess also possesses claws like this. And I wonder if all of this could be somehow interconnected. Or maybe this technology originally belonged to one source, but then got spread out to both Astro Toilets and TV Men? Or maybe Jeffrey just somehow managed to adapt Astro Toilet's claw technology before the rest of his crew did. And could it be linked to the fact that he stayed in the abyss? All of this seems really interesting to me, and I think I will discuss it more thoroughly in another one of my videos. Okay, and another detail I genuinely missed occurred right in this scene, where one of the damaged Astro troops literally crashes into YouTube logo sign on the building's wall. And literally the same thing happened back in episode 33 when G-Man destroyed this exact sign as a metaphor about how Skibidi Toilet series virality blew